And then boys and girls, we are working our little socks off today, ladies and gentlemen. It is Monday. It's the start of our third full week. And we are getting in the zone and we're getting lots and lots of work done. I've already done some, productivity is basically the key now. I've done a load of, done all the like house stuff that I do on a Monday, normally before I go to work. Did my walk, got ready a nice big old to-do list of things I'm going to chip off today. One thing I have done, one thing I have changed is I've unlocked my inner Steve Jobs, not by throwing away all my clothes, but what I've done is I've organised my wardrobe, which is up here. So every morning I would go like this, left, right, and if I don't want to wear whatever is here, then I have to wear something that I've already got out. Ain't nobody got time to think about what it is that they want to wear in the morning. Not me. So I've got that sorted. I realised that I just started wearing the same clothes all the time, and then I'd never wear some clothes because I'd only wear them on like days out and things like that, you know what I mean? So I thought, you know what, fuck it, let's just randomise it and roll from there. Otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, we have done some, owie. I forget that these glasses are my old glasses. Every now and again I try and push them on, they don't do that very well because they don't go over my ears. Words. So, what I've been looking at, I've done some client email generation stuff. I've got one of them ready to go later. And I've been trying to figure out how I'm going to do my Docker integration. So the user generates a pipeline that generates a Docker image, which then gets flumped into some kind of repository. I've realized that integrating with that repository via C# is going to be a bitch. So we're going to move it to PowerShell. We're going to use the PowerShell core scripts to get them bad boys flumped up into the repositories. The problem is I need to get the file out of the C# microservice into somewhere where I can start running PowerShell easily. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload the file into blob storage, and then have a Azure function that listens to blob storage updates. As soon as the file gets uploaded, runs, builds it, puts it into the repo. That's the plan of attack. It's going to be an interesting piece of integration work. But yeah, I spent a lot of hours trying to get this thing integrated from C# and it was just way too finicky. In theory, it's possible by building a REST client for it, but it's just not worth the hassle, basically. So it'll be way too fragile for something that is pretty simple in PowerShell. So that's the plan of attack, boys and girls. It's really sad when you just like undo literally a day's worth of work. Where there's like 3 lines I changed in my efforts to get it working. Obviously I wrote a shitload of lines, but there's basically 3 left. Remove them. Start again, boys. Generating these files and these images is one of those things where it's just like, you kind of just have to start everything at once. Like I started to write the automation test and I'm like, I don't really know how to craft this automation test into what I need it to do. And then I started writing all of the different like modules and services and stuff that's going to put it together to make it all work. And it's just like, oh, that means I've got to start that, means I've got to start that. It's just one of the things where you start every single file and then start pushing them all instead of like incrementally go through them. It's really annoying because you've got to keep track of where you are and what you've remembered to do and what you haven't remembered to do. I've hit a like mild complication in how to do the what's it called? The images in the first place. So I need to look into that and figure out why it is that it's not running the second image. It is like a world of things. I say a world of things. Something I'm not particularly used to. I've not done this before, so it's like the first time I've done something like this. I'm used to just spinning up services in images, not building images that build images. It's kind of an interesting little thing. I'm just going to go get the bins in and then it's sandwiches time, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have some lunch. FML, ladies and gentlemen. This fucking thing I'm building is finicky AF. It's just not, it's not a fun, it's not a fun thing to build. It's quite brutal in like, it's so unforgiving. And I'm trying to basically programmatically generate these files without knowing enough information about, well, knowing minimal information. And it's so complicated. And I've just been playing around with it to make sure I basically don't build a file that won't work. Just been playing around with it, trying to build the file in the way that I want to build it. And it's like, no, that won't work. So now, because I was hoping to basically have it so each step would generate a build step, and then I'd just flow the data through. It's not as simple as that. I have to do it at a pipeline level so that the pipeline generates its own file, and then based on the context of that, it then flows through the rest of it, which is so complicated. Oh my god. Anyway, I'm gonna make a cup of tea. I'm gonna shift tact for a little bit, do something else. Stress me out, man. Stress me out. But yeah, that's life. It's gonna be this. This is the hard bit. This is the second hardest bit. And it's like the bit that like really shines a light on just how hard the rest of this stuff is. Like, I'm trying to solve a problem that's so big on my own, and huge companies like solve this problem, and they call it a day there. I'm solving the problem and then some, and I'm like, that's just a small portion of my platform. FML. The most annoying part about all of it is it makes me question whether or not I'm building it the right way. Like, I feel like it shouldn't be this complicated. But it is. It is. It's just the longer it takes me to build it, the more time I've got to get annoyed at myself and think that it must be easier than it is, and then be more and more tempted to try something different, you know? It's so warm outside today as well, man. It's like burning down on my arm. He says wearing a hoodie. Why did I put my hoodie on to come downstairs? It's like burning onto my arm, so I might just put my blind down and sit in the dark like a hermit. But what's super important to remember is that I don't have to do this to the level that these massive companies have done it, because all I need to do is do it enough for one company to use it effectively. And that's possible, and the way that I'm building this, I can even make a really nice custom version of it where I basically let you write it for me. Where it's basically just building a Docker file. So I could effectively have a pipeline that is, here's a Docker file, and then here's some documentation for what I need. You write your fucking own. So it's important not to let it... God damn it, man. There's no fucking cars during the day. No plebs work from home like I do. Is that a cat or is that a dog? Oh no, it's a bin bag. I have the base pipelines generating their stuff. I just need to go into each step and let the steps inject in what they need to inject in now. So that's all good. I'm all happy about that. We went shopping and standard stuff. I also did a load of other work as well, including I'm trying to change tact the way that I'm approaching potential customers, both to get more value out of that outreach in the first place, and also potentially sell better, but get more value if I don't sell, if that makes sense. It's kind of difficult though. It's not, like I say, it's not something that I really do. I'm trying to take a leaf out of something that Laura sees a lot, but it's a completely different, which I think might work. It's because it's a completely different like approach of like how lawyers do things compared to how people like me do things. It's a lot less salesman-y. I feel like that might work out in my favour. For this next little bit of programming, I've really got to delve deep into the world of Docker and Linux and all that good stuff. I can't believe I haven't actually installed the Linux subsystem on my computer yet. Which is bizarre. I've done it on the Surface, but not on Atlas 2.0. So, oh my knee. I've been for my walk this morning and I am just doing some programming, trying to get my steps generating what they need to generate. I'm just trying to figure out how to do, which is why I'm building this up, how to do the flipping, what's it called, boys? The project filtering, so that you can build, you can select what it is you want to build, basically. That's my plan of attack. But to do that, I need to know how the how Linux does things, because I'm a Windows guy. I'm a PowerShell kind of guy. I dabble my way around Linux, but I need to actually install it to to make sure I know exactly that it's kicking out things in the right format that I need it to kick out in, and all of that shit. Making some wicked progress this morning. I've basically got the files generated, I just need to flump them into blob storage now. So we're going well there. I'm coming down for a cup of tea. I don't know why, but I feel like I'm on the brink of a nosebleed. I don't know if this is hay fever or a cold. So with that all sorted, I'm going to now move on to some of my more businessy, application-y kind of stuff. I start working on that. I've got a session booked in with Laura later to figure out how to do networking emails that I was talking about last night. It's going well. It's going well, ladies and gentlemen. Like I say, cup of tea, get on with it, boy. I'm not going to be here tomorrow. I'm going to go and try this co-working thing in Bristol tomorrow. So like there's this group. So you know the meetup things I go to where they do like talks about .NET stuff. The site that I use to find those things is called Meetup, and on Meetup there is a number of things which are like for people like freelancers and or people who work from home to go and all work communally somewhere, and they go and do it in a pub. They do it basically every single week, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to tag along. And I booked it and completely forgot that I booked it, to be honest with you, because I seem to have booked it for the next 2 weeks, and I thought I'd only booked it for one. But basically, you go down there, you take your laptop, and then you like work with other people, and I feel like that might help me mentally, you know. And I might hate it. I might absolutely hate it and decide never to go again. But I decided, because next week, this is obviously what went through my brain when I booked this and completely forgot about it. Next week, I'm going to a networking thing in the evening, and I booked to go to this co-working thing in the morning. And I was like, well, I say in the morning, throughout the day. And I was like, well, I could spend all day in town. That's going to be a real freaking long day if I'm not careful. So I am going to I'm going to try it out tomorrow, see if I like it or not, and then I can figure out my plan for the week after. Sometimes they do it at an actual co-working place. I think what might make it awkward, or might make me not like it, is the fact that it's effectively at a pub. Because I don't want to buy drink, I don't want to get food, you know what I mean? On every now and again they do it at an actual co-working place, a bit like my office. I think that almost definitely will be good. But I thought, you know what, I've got to try these things. I've got to get out there sooner rather than later. So may as well start tomorrow, I guess. But yeah, so there's a couple of things. I was gonna spend a lot of time doing non-programming stuff today until I got this email reminding me about tomorrow. So I'm kind of a bit more happy doing lots of programming today because I'll have Atlas rather than tomorrow where I'll only have my laptop, where I can do a bit more admin-y related stuff. I'm usually better at admin related stuff outside the house. I don't know why. I feel like I tweeted about this yesterday. I'm not sure if I said it out loud, but I've been trialing out the Microsoft Edge Chromium beta. It's really good, and that's coming from a Microsoft Edge fan that didn't want them to build a Chromium version of Edge. I just wanted them to just carry on building Edge. It's really good. It's really lightweight, especially compared to Chrome. It's a bit better than normal Edge. It's just really nice. I want some of the Edge features to come out of it and go into the Chromium version, which are gonna come, but it's in its beta at the moment. It's really good. I did try the earlier versions, but they were a bit too fragile, let's say. My sneaking suspicion is that the like really dev version / canary version, whichever one it was I had, was the reason that my computer started blue screen and not work. So yeah, the beta though is fine. But I'm trying to spread out a little bit and use some slightly different tools every now and again. Like I'm using the new Windows terminal, which is bomb ass. It's got to be said. Big fan of that compared to the just standard PowerShell. It's really nice. But otherwise, your boy here is just chilling a little bit. Cup of tea, 5 minutes out, and then we're going to go on to some admin stuff. Trying and struggling to whip up some post-lunch motivation. I'm gonna do some more business stuff. I'm gonna go on my laptop though, and I'm gonna move around the house a little bit. That's what I'm thinking. Because I think if I sit in the office, I'm gonna get distracted a little bit more. So what I'm gonna do is gonna get my laptop, and I'm gonna go sit, probably in bed, somewhere, not in bed, on the bed, and then I've got nothing else to distract me. This is like the thing that I get in here. It's one of the things that's like possibly the hardest thing to do is continuous and prolonged motivation. Because like time feels so, like a day doesn't feel very long, right? But simultaneously it does feel like a long time. I'm just chatting out my arse now. But like the year feels like it's ages, but it's only like 3 more months. You know? Am I making any sense? But I'm like, an hour break is plenty of enough of a break for lunch. That should be enough to get back into it now, Gemma. So let's get back into it. Let's kick everything up. And let's get into the zone. This is one of those things that needs doing. You need to do it. Stop putting it off. Get down and dirty with it. Let's rock and roll. But yeah, I mean, like, I am doing like 10-hour long days ATM. But the weekend was really unproductive. Let's be honest. So I went back to programming for a little bit. I'm now working on my automation tests. I'll probably work on that until my evening commute. I'm trying to figure out a way of... So I've got the automation test now. It kind of feels weird. It feels weird because I'm kind of testing the... automation tests for the consumer, which is the message bus consumer for the microservice. I'm testing that in isolation from the API itself. So when I'm testing the API, I assert that it's updating the database in the correct way, and I assert that it's putting messages on the bus. But there isn't really a message bus listening, if that makes sense. It's just on a in-memory version of it. I just make sure that the messages are there. So when I do the tests for the consumer, I don't need to test how the messages get on the bus. I just need to test that the consumer does the right thing if the messages are on the bus. And then the two things kind of overlap each other ever so slightly. But it feels weird to write a test where I'm like, right, so let's fill the database with the data that I want, and then just fire off the 3 update events that you're expecting to get. That's one thing. So that kind of feels a bit weird, but it's not the end of the world. I've written it now. It's all good. So basically, I populate the database. I tell it that it's expecting a Docker file to be uploaded to the blob storage. So that's annoying as well. That's a minor workaround I have to have around not knowing when the message bus will finish processing everything it needs to finish processing. I can't just straight up say, has this happened? Because it might not have happened yet. And I don't want, so basically I have like a spin wait that sits and waits. That sets up a spin wait anyway, that'll wait 5 seconds for the file to be uploaded. If it's not uploaded, it'll fail the test. Well, no, if it's not uploaded or it is uploaded, it will stop running and then try and assert whether or not it was uploaded. Then I get a nice message out of it, which is good too. The complicated thing is, and I've had this complication before, is I effectively now need to test that the Docker file is the correct like shape. So I have unit tests around this. And I'm not sure 100% if that's enough. In an ideal world, I'd like to know that this works. But then I have to convert what I have as a test case into an expected, I feel like I shouldn't do this, into like effectively an expected string that the file should contain. I feel like that's a bit too fragile. Like I'm basically implementing that logic to convert a test case to a non-test case twice. One in the test and one in the thing. And like the unit tests don't go that far. So the unit tests test that the generator works. So the generator, based on the type of pipeline that you pass it, generates a file and gets the inputs from the steps on the pipeline and injects that into the right place. So it does that. I then have tests on each of the steps to make sure that their output is correct, given certain scenarios. So yeah, I shouldn't need it. Because I also then have a unit test that makes sure that whatever stream is generated is the one that's uploaded. It just feels weird doing this and then not having a real stream, you know? Not having like a... Oh, it would be... It would be good though. It would be good to see it work. Otherwise, when I went back to programming, my elected background noise, I thought, you know what, I'm going to watch the Parliament stuff today. It's all kicking off. Brexit's kicking off. Parliament's back. It's going to be a nice old episode of fucking, what's it called? Pantomime. It's going to be a good old pantomime. Turn it on and it's not. There's been this hype all day. BBC have been live covering this bullshit all day, saying the same bollocks over and over again. And then they go, right, we're going to cut to Parliament. And then they're talking about nothing of relevance. And they're not going to talk about the thing that people are here for another like couple of hours. So you're like, what's the goddamn point of me being here, quite frankly? So I was like, all right, going back to music. I get bored of listening to music. That's my problem. I feel like Spotify has got less good at recommending music than it used to. It always seems to kick out either Discover Weekly is just all rap music that I don't like, or all of the like daily mix things are all just the same songs. It's just all a bit uninspired, but I don't know what I'm expecting it to do to generate me several hours of music that I like and haven't heard before every day. It's a bit excessive, isn't it? It's asking quite a lot. You know when you see houses and you wonder why they've got 3, 4, 5, 6 antennae just sticking out the top of their house. What are you tuning into, dog? And then again, you see people with just like either huge radio masts or just like massive satellites or massive CCTV systems. You're like, what the hell are you doing there, dog? And we're drawing it to an end today, ladies and gentlemen. We've had a fun day listening into Parliament and watching that shambles, and then doing all our standard stuff. The thing that I've done works. I've run it. Obviously, automation tasks, run it. Tomorrow I'll do the pull request. I'm kind of like prepping a number of things that I can do outside of the house, because at least for the morning, maybe for longer, I'll be in town at a co-working thing in a pub. It's going to be fun. Got really cheap ear as well. So hopefully, obviously I'm going to wear my laptop, so I need to be able to do a number of different things. I also I've started like approaching this application thing a bit differently now, and instead of trying to polish the first question, I'm just going through and putting my ideas down for each question and like rolling through that. So I'm doing quite well with that. Also got the start of a template for my new type of emails that I'm going to be start sending out as well. So I feel like I've had a productive day. I feel like it's been quite productive. So tomorrow at the very least I have code review to do, like some planning I can do, and I've got all of this business admin related stuff, and I've got a blog I need to write. I've got lots to do. Lots to do, not enough time to do it in. That's life. But yeah, we're motoring on through a lot of stuff. I'm starting to let it consume me a little bit more. 9-hour days so far. Although tomorrow may be a little bit different because I'm out for some of the day, like traveling around, which takes a little bit longer obviously than not. But we'll see how it goes, ladies and gentlemen. We got it down. Right, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Come back tomorrow. Like I say, I'm really not looking forward to this thing, but I feel like it's one of those things that I just need to do it, just to try it out, and I might really like it, and it's probably going to be really good for my chronic loneliness. So I'll catch you later.